Hi. I'm thinking right now of that TikTok sound that goes something like, I don't even know where it's from, but it's just a person saying, hey, like walking in a room. You add a subtitle, anything makes sense on TikTok. Anyways, that's how I feel, because it's been a month since I posted a long form video. Apologies. I have been getting used to my sophomore year of college, but that's not an excuse. I could have done it, I just didn't. But I'm back now. Um, Today we're going to talk about the summer, if you will, my summary of the summer, because I'm going to be talking about every single book that I read this summer. Since I'm in that college mindset format, we're going to have a syllabus to start off the video. First, we're going to do some statistics, then we're going to do a full list of the books with explanations of why I read those books, then my most disappointing books of the summer, then honorable mentions, then my favorite books. Okay, and then a few other things, because as we know, the syllabus is never extensive. What I'm considering this summer is from like near the end of May to the end of August, because that's when I was out of school. I read 36 books. 14 of those were rereads, which makes math, 22 of those new books I hadn't read before. I read 11 nonfiction books and I read 25 fiction books. Okay, I guess that's it for the first part. Next part, I'm going to tell you every single book that I read. I'm going to tell you whether I will reread it, if I recommend it, or both, or neither. If I don't say something, then that means I don't recommend it, nor I don't plan on rereading it. And yeah, also the reason why I read it in the first place. We're not going to go into opinions of the books. All we're doing is the title, if I will reread it, / if I recommend it, and why I read it in the first place. First book is Strangers on a Train by Patricia. Oh, I should tell you before we continue. I am in a practice room in the music building. So if you hear music, that's why, because I'm surrounded by musicians. Feel free to share this video every time you hear a note played or any sound outside of my mouth. Strangers on a Train by Patricia Highsmith. I read this book, I think originally I had heard of this book from the movie Do Revenge on Netflix starring Camila Mendes and Maya Hawke. That movie is based a little off of this book. Technically, the movie was based off of the movie with Alfred Hitchcock that Alfred Hitchcock directed, and that movie was based on Strangers on a Train by Patricia Highsmith. I can't even remember outside of that why I picked it up. I saw it was available at my library. This author also wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley, which I really hope to read fairly soon. So yes, I recommend it, and I will be rereading it. Then we have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Also, you'll be hearing talking. I'd recommend it. I'll reread it. The reason why I read it for the second time, because this is my second time reading it. This is already a reread, and I will be rereading it again. Anyways, it's because I'm in a book club with one of my friends, some of my friends, Anna and Lizzie. So yeah, we read that for the book club, and I ended up buying a copy of it. Then we have One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This. The author of this book is escaping me, which is not good. Usually I'm good with this kind of thing. But I would recommend it, and I will reread it. Yeah, okay. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I read this because I had watched the movie recently and I wanted to read the book. Originally, I was going to read the book, then watch the movie, but then I found out the movie was available on Amazon Prime, and I was like, I'm going to watch it tonight, and I did, and then I read the book. Next is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Read this again for the book club, and I would recommend it. Then we have How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. I would recommend it. I read this because I wanted to learn how to do nothing. It talked about, we're not talking about what it talks about, but the subtitle of it is like how to retain attention in the attention economy, something like that. Yeah. Yes, I'd recommend it. Then The Enchantress Returns by Chris Colfer. recommend, reread. This was part of my reread of the series, one of my favorite series of all time, The Land of Stories. This is the second book in that series. That author name that'll not be the last time you hear the author name. Girl Interrupted by Suzanne. I'm just thinking of the Ray song. I don't think that may not be it. It starts with S. I read this and I also watched the movie. I think I just wanted to do both, so that's why I did one. Read it first, then watched the movie. Yeah. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. I would like to reread. I read it because of the acclaim and the acclaim alone. Then we have A Grim Morning by Chris Colfer. Recommend, reread. Again, Land of Stories. Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. Again, reputation alone, really, but I will have to reread this. Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. Read this because I had heard good things about it, and that's really it. I don't even remember like where I had heard the recommendation, but yeah. Then The Notebook by I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. I can't remember the author, but I would recommend it. I read this because I saw it in a Barnes & Noble on the buy one, get 50% off, and I love writing. I have been journaling recently and writing for fun, and I thought I might as well learn about the history of The Notebook, so that's why I picked that up. Recommend. Okay. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. The acclaim alone, or people talking about it. Yeah, that was the reason. My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I'm gonna read everything Frederick Bachman writes, so yeah, I would recommend it. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, because of the TV show. I was gonna make a video. I didn't. Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin. Tentative, potential, not really confident, recommend. I read this because I just wanted to read another James Baldwin book that I hadn't read. Yeah. Beyond the Kingdoms by Chris Colfer. Recommend, reread. You're going to see a trend with the Land of Stories series here. Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe. Maybe reread. This is by Preston Norton. It was on my favorite books ever, and I wanted to see if it held up, so that's the reason why I read that. Then we have In My Dreams I Hold the Knife by Ashley Winstead. I read this because of the wonderful title and the plots that I heard about it. The plot enticed me, so yeah. The Emotional Life of Your Brain, I would recommend it, and I will reread. And I don't know who that's by. And I got this at a book sale years ago, and I was just looking on my bookshelf, and I saw that book, and I was like, I haven't read it, so I should. And I did. Yes. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Recommend, reread. I recently listened to the Outsiders Broadway soundtrack for the first time, so I thought I might as well read the book as well. Yeah. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Recommend, reread. I just liked the book. I remember liking it, so I wanted to see if it held up again. And Author's Odyssey by Chris Colfer. Recommend, reread. Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. Recommend. Reason I read this, I guess its reputation. My sister Kana had a copy. I have a video with her if you want to watch. It's pretty old now, but we talk about one of my favorite TV shows called Degrassi, The Next Generation. You can check that out if you're interested. Then we have Monster by Walter Dean Myers. I had wanted to read this for so long. Another book that I got from a book sale that has just been collecting dust on the shelf. So I finally read it. The Third Wife by Lisa Jewell. This was also for the book club. I really enjoyed Lisa Jewell's book, None of This Is True. That was, I guess, the main reason why we read it. It was one of my recommendations. Yeah. Now, Books for Living by Will Schwab. Recommend. The reason I read it. Good question. Another book sale book. Yeah. Worlds Collide by Chris Colfer. Say it with me. Recommend and reread. Made by Stephanie Land. We read this for the book club as well. Crush, reread by Svetlana Chumakova. Also got Brave by Svetlana and Awkward by Svetlana. All those are rereads. It's part of a series called the Berry Brook Middle School series. They're graphic novels. I'm not sure if that's relevant information, but they are. And I just wanted to, it was another books that were on my favorite shelf and just wanted to see if they stood the test of time. Japanese proverbs. Don't remember the authors of this one, but I recommend and I will reread them. Reason I read it, another like favorite book, ex-favorite book, just trying to see if it held up. Then Dear Martin by Nick Stone, same thing here. Favorite book, question mark. And then The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Recommend and reread. Reason I read it because it's one of my favorite books of all time, and I read it every summer. And I usually make a video, but I didn't make it this summer. Oops. But you can watch the videos from last 3 years. Maybe I'll make a video for this year, but that's a lie. I'm not going to. Okay, so that is the end of every single book that I read, 36 in all, if you forgot, because you should remember. Just kidding. I don't care. I do care, but okay, moving on. Disclaimer, some books that I just read won't be mentioned again in my most disappointing, honorable mentions, or favorites. But that doesn't mean they didn't make an impression on me. If I said that I want to reread a book, that is a good sign. Because either I'm not sure how I feel about it, or I just want to reread it because I enjoy it. Additionally, there is a future video coming out called Books I'm Glad Exist. Some books on that list that I just read through are in that list, the books I'm glad exist list, but not in the forthcoming lists. I hope that eases your mind a little. I wasn't sure if I should say this before I say my favorites and my honorable mentions and most disappointing or not, but yeah, here we are. Now we're going to talk about my most disappointing. I tried to do top 5, top 10, then I gave up because numbers are... Who cares? Who cares? I feel like... Okay, is that better? Maybe. So I'm just looking at myself in the mirror. Okay. It's fine. I don't like that. Sorry. All right. So now we're going to go to the most disappointing. I already said that. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. Why this was one of the most disappointing books. I inevitably compared it to the movie adaptation. I would not say that I love the movie. I would not say that I really like the movie, but I like the movie more than this one. The story is portrayed differently. It's been so long, I'm sorry, I can't really remember why this was so disappointing. Sorry. That's why I need to film videos sooner. Okay, next, How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. I wanted to get a lot more information from this book than I ended up getting. A lot of it was just kind of reiteration or just a reminder of things that I already knew. But I still do recommend it if you remember. So I think a lot of people, like, information can definitely be gleaned from this book, but at least for me, with my knowledge coming into it, it wasn't that much new information. So yeah, then we have Happiness Falls by Angie Kim, potentially the most. I don't think I even had that much like high expectations for it. Sorry, I don't think I had high expectations for this necessarily. Just the ending of this book really disappointed me. It wasn't satisfying. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't really want to have spoilers in this video. But yeah, like I was invested, especially at the beginning, and as I went through the book, my investment went down. So yeah, very much a bummer, and I think this is one of potentially the worst reading experiences I've ever had in my life because I spent hours listening to this book where I could have been doing anything else. So yeah. I'm saying these in the order of that I read them, like chronologically. Okay, then we have Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin. I was expecting a lot. Um, we got one of those situations where you compare the author's previous work that you've read with the work of theirs that you're reading currently. I have a whole entire video that I want to make about that. But yeah, it was just there's so many different ideas. It was in the format of like essays. Some essays were interesting, some weren't. Um, I don't know. I think I may I guess this is my first like nonfiction James Baldwin, and I'm more used to his fiction writing. So he talks a lot about history, and I'm not a history person. Um, yeah. Then Monster by Walter Dean Myers. Just high expectations. It's in the format of a screenplay, which is pretty cool. And as in a person interested in screenwriting, I thought it'd be really cool, but it wasn't. It was fine. It was fine, but also I don't want to read a lot of books anymore talking about black struggle, and this is about a person in prison, a black boy in prison. Yeah, I just although the stories are important, I just don't want to be exposing myself to those as often. So I finished this in a day because I just I didn't want to extend the experience to more than a day. I wouldn't say it was an unenjoyable experience, but it was just like, okay, I get what's happening. Can we finish this up? Like, I'm not getting anything from this. Um, I may have mentioned earlier there's a movie on Netflix. Couldn't get through the movie because I was like, I'm wasting my time. Why am I? We have so many, we have so little hours on this earth. I just didn't want to use two of them for that movie. Um, but yeah, okay. Then we have The Third Wife by Lisa Jewell. It's again just like Notes of a Native Son. I love another book by that same author. None of this is true, and this one was just not that. She has a lot of books, lots of mystery books, and I guess it makes sense now that not all of them will be as wonderful as None of This Is True is to me, at least in my opinion. Um, I think collectively the book club also agreed that this was like not a standout. It was not a favorite. Lots of characters. It was interesting. I saw things that I enjoyed in None of This Is True displayed in The Third Wife, but I guess not enough. And I was also kind of left unsatisfied, similar to Happiness Falls. And then we have Made by Stephanie Land. Unfortunately, another book club book. I don't know. I mentioned that. Sorry. I watched the TV show, which this book is. The TV show is based on this book very, very loosely. I guess I was expecting more of the TV show to be in this book. But yeah, it just goes house by house. It talks about a per. It's a memoir, I guess you could say, nonfiction book. I guess memoir. Just about this Stephanie's experience being a maid for people. Um, it was it was interesting, and it also made me more grateful and appreciative of like service workers in general. But it was just kind of repetitive in nature, as in like there wasn't that much. There was distinction. Also, it's always weird to me, like when people talk about memoirs, like judging that memoir, like that means you're judging someone's life. But also, I guess it's like the writing style, the way that they presented this life is more what I have. Like, it just wasn't varied enough for me to be interested all the time. And this is one of the few books that I listen to while like doing other things, like while cleaning my room, because I just wasn't invested enough to like devote like my full attention on it to it. Okay, now we have honorable mentions before my favorites. We have My Friends by Frederick Bachman. Frederick Bachman, I really like him. As I said before, I'm probably going to read all of his books. He has this wonderful thing that he does where he says a sentence that sounds very, I don't, like when you read it at first, it makes you want to kind of laugh or like roll your eyes or like, okay? Because it's a very general thing. And then when you think about it, you're like, oh, that is completely true. So many of those lines in here, and in every one of his books. This one took me a little bit more to get into compared to his other books. Um, but yeah, it just tells the story. I haven't really been going into plot, so let me not. But it's about art, and it's about family. It's about chosen family. It's about friendship. It's about death, as all of his books are. It's about love. It's about everything. It's about everything. I think you can really find something for everyone in this book. So yeah. Then in my dreams, I hold. Oh, and childhood. Did I mention childhood? Maybe not. In my dreams, I hold a knife. Ashley Winstead. Great title. I don't understand why it's the title of this book, but okay. This is just cool. It takes place on a. It takes place, I guess, during a reunion, a college reunion. It follows a group of like students, I think six or so, that were all like at college in the same time. One of them dies during their college experience, and they're back at the reunion, and things are coming out. It's pretty interesting. I like a mystery because it makes my head think. Um, so yeah, I did like that. The main character was very interesting. So yeah, I'll probably read another book by her, but not this book. I don't think. I think with mysteries, it's a little hard for me to like want to reread them again because I know it's gonna happen. Although I guess you can reread things and find clues that you didn't notice the first time. But anyways, next we have The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. It's just really good, and the fact that she wrote this at like what 14, 15, something like that. I didn't kind of tell me how old she was. It's just really cool. I also listened to the audiobook, and the reader had a very thick I don't know if it's considered country. I can't even remember where this book takes place. Accent, but it's very thick, and I just don't really have that much exposure to that in audiobook format, so that was pretty cool and memorable about it. But yeah, I think I can. I don't want to use my money to buy this book, but I do see myself rereading it a lot because I think it's a very interesting book, especially if you look at it through a sociological lens, which is what I'm majoring in college. So yeah, very interesting about like again found family similar to my friends, um, like trust, devotion. It's very good. Okay, now we're gonna go into the favorites. Originally, I was going to include rereads, and then I edited a little bit so to not do that. Unfortunately, we only have four like favorites of this summer, but that's okay. Not every season can be a hit. So yeah. First, we have Strangers on a Train by Patricia Highsmith. This is also a mystery. It's very, very interesting. I just love the characters, specifically the character of Bruno. Like, I really get into his head. I can feel his hatred, his obsession, his everything towards every character, which I feel like it's been hard to in other books. I find myself in a lot of books reading something like, I love him, and I'm like, you're lying. Like, I don't believe it, but in Bruno's case, I do believe it. Um, it's a great novel about obsession, and that's it basically. Yeah, yeah. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, another book club book. Just cool. I don't have that much exposure into South Africa, and Trevor does a really great job of explaining what South Africa was like in his perspective. Something I kind of expected this book to do more of was to talk about his experience outside of South Africa, like as he grew older. Even though the subtitle of the book is Tales from a South African Childhood, but anyways, I appreciated how like central or specific it centered into his childhood, just like random stories. It's a really good storyteller, really funny, but and it's really interesting and impressive how he talks about very tough things with the lens through the lens of humor. Um, yeah, it's a very, I wouldn't say sad book, but like bad things happen, but like somehow you're laughing. It's incredible. It's incredible. Now we have The Emotional Life of Your Brain I don't know who this is by. I also don't know why it's on this list. I don't remember that much of it. I can't remember a single thing I learned from it. However, there was a fun little quiz within it that you could do to test your emotional intelligence. And all members of my family did that and compared their answers. So that's pretty cool. I guess I just appreciate how this book talks about how emotion is linked within the brain, because I think a lot of the time we consider our brain something only used for thinking, but like feeling is also something the brain helps us do. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Honestly, looking back, it may be more of an honorable mention than a favorite, but I'm not refilming this video, so it's etched in time forever. Okay, finally, Books for Living by Will Schwab. Just love this book so much. It just talks about his favorite books. No, that's not true. It talks about it talks about books that Will Schwab has read that left an impression on him, that made him, I guess, think about life in a different way. And it's so cool. This is also a very inspirational book because it makes me want to write a book like this, like make a video or write a essay or whatever about specific reasons why I like my favorite books. It's yeah, just inspirational, and I got some recommendations from it as well. I could even maybe make a video reading the books that he talks about reading in Books for Living. That'd be kind of cool. Um, Maybe. There was also another video that I want to do about books written in a book. The person being a wallflower, which would definitely be on my favorites list if I was including rereads. Because Charlie is an avid reader and he reads a lot of books within that book as well. I also want to make a video for that. So hopefully that video will come out before the Books for Living books video, or maybe neither of them will come out. Okay, that's it. Now we have, let's say, the extra credit section. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Sorry it has been a little bit, I'm gonna be honest, it's a little harder this semester to find a place to film and a time to film, and honestly I've also been booked and, oh, that's a pun, I didn't even do that on purpose, but booked and busy this semester. So yeah. Also, it's Friday. I usually do Wednesday releases, but now I'm trying to find spontaneity wherever I can in my life at this point. So I'll surprise you. I'll try to just, I'll release a video when I can. Don't expect any regimented schedule. I wanted to give you a personalized recommendation as well as a specific video that I recommend to you, which is why I've been reading more nonfiction books lately. Because me a year ago, we would not have, what's its face, 11 nonfiction books on this list. And next week, I will be talking about the next 10 books I want to read. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!